this episode, I am underneath the rear of my car because I'm going to be upgrading the rear sway bar end links that I have on here, which have 175,000 miles on them, and they're making some noise. I should have replaced them a long time ago. I'm going to be putting these ISF beefy rear sway bar end links onto the 2nd Gen GS chassis. You're going to have to enlarge the sway bar hole slightly, but all in all, it's going to be a good mod. I'm going to give you the torque specs, all of the good information that you need to do this mod. This is shorter than the stock end links on the 2nd Gen GS, which is fantastic for me because I only have a small drop. You really want your end links to follow your drop. If your car is slammed, you're going to want to get some adjustable end links, probably from Figs or someone like that, a reputable company out there. For me, with a small drop, these ISF end links should be a fantastic upgrade. Let's get to it. The part number is MS86836. The cheapest I found it was on Amazon. It was comparable to Rock Auto. Seemed like Amazon beat them by a couple bucks and much faster shipping. So you can see there's a cover that comes on these. You're gonna take that off at some point. Also, there's Zerk fittings. And one thing I like about this is the Zerk fitting is on the side of this. And so you're gonna need a drill bit that will enable you to drill the hole size slightly larger on your rear sway bar. The best thing to do is take some calipers and measure this, and then to take those same calipers and measure right here. An H5 or a hex 5 is what will actually go right here to hold that while you're tightening this nut down later. This is the factory service manual page. Anytime you have it on one page, it's good news because it's a pretty simple job. It might be hard for you to see some of these torque specs, but I'll call them out as we go through the job, and then these are just some notes that I have for doing the job itself. Take your control arm dust cover off. If you still have them, I know a lot of people don't run them, but I like to run them. Is you're gonna just loosen the lower shock bolt. Don't take it off, just loosen it. And don't forget that you loosened it. Okay, now we're going for this lower end link. And what I like to do is put that right there like that, and then just give it a tap, just in case. And it's just gonna pull right through. So we're gonna do that on each side. So if the bar will swing like that, the end link will come out of the lower control arm. Swing them up, and this is the good time to test and get the other side, and then push them down towards you. Now, this is a good time to see if there's noise. I don't know if you can see that play in there. This end link absolutely has play in it. Look at that. And that's probably the noise that I was hearing. It's stripped inside there. It's just spinning in there right now. Try to leave something that you can grab onto, I guess. So I got the vice grips on. Hopefully this holds. Nope. Of course it doesn't. Gotta do this very carefully, but I'm gonna put a slot in this thing. Okay, once the slot's in it, you can hold it a little easier with some pliers. Just come off of that. Let's see here. Yep. So that is the way to do it right there, is you cut a slot into that nut and then that pulls right out. What a pain in the butt. This one is actually loosening with the H5 in place. I got lucky on this side. It's just under 5 inches here. And then this one is just over 4 inches. There's roughly a 3/4 to 1 inch difference between these two end links, which is great for me because I only have a 1.2 inch drop. Now again, I want to stress, if you didn't catch it earlier, if you have a serious drop on your car, you're going to want to go with adjustable ones so that you have that flexibility to do a zero preload, which I'm not going to show today. But what you basically want to do is do a loose install and then load the suspension, adjust it, and then torque down the jam nuts. 11.88, 11.86. I know some of you don't have a lift, so this will be a little bit tougher for you, but taking mine off. Remember, larger bits, slower speeds. Also, lubricant like WD-40 works really well. I highly recommend that you get this done by a machine shop if you can. I'm just gonna do that outside hole that it fits. But that took a lot longer than I expected. Cleaned them up a little bit, but I'm gonna wipe them with acetone, mask that off. I had some spare junk paint just sitting around, so I'm just gonna coat here and here. If you have an upgraded sway bar or sway bar bushings, this would be a great time to coat those with grease. I know I have a bunch of this stuff laying around, and these get dried out pretty easy. Coat the inside of them really well, and then we'll get them adjusted in a little bit when we get them on the car. All right, there we go. So that's the combo, guys. You gotta move that shock over that way, and now I gotta bring it back. Hand tighten the nut. You grab your spring and torque it. There we go. I'll get you all the torque specs in a little bit. Everything is loose installed, and this of course shouldn't be contacting. In a second here this will move over. So I'm going to get the retainers back on now. Okay. Lower shock is going to be 81 foot-pounds. Your torque value on these retainer bolts is 13 foot-pounds. And I'll do it to the other side. There's 22. These do not have a torque value on the factory service manual, plus they're a different size now, so you'd have to look up the ISF factory service manual. They're self-locking nuts, so my vote is to get those snug. Don't forget your H5 or Hex 5 socket or Allen key to go into the middle of that, and then be sure to hold on to it as you torque it so it doesn't spin. And if you do decide to hold it here where there's flat spots, you're gonna need a spanner wrench to get in there so you don't damage this boot. I'm gonna try it this way, and so far so good. Now as you torque this down, it's gonna suck this in off of the spring a bit too. I'm watching it really closely. You won't be able to see it on this camera, but it's pulling it just ever so slightly in this way, which is good. Because in our situation, we need every millimeter we can get. Okay, everything is fully torqued. 81, tight, self-locking nut, 13 foot-pounds. And then you had the weird 48 in the factory service manual, which I don't agree with. And then you had 22 on the other side. I personally wouldn't go much more than 30 on this. Don't forget your lower control arm dust cover things, splash shields, whatever. There you have it, folks. Suspension is fully compressed, and we've got 1/4 inch of space there on both sides. I want to comment, you must not get the Zerk fitting that is the old style, which is here. It'll never work there. The car just feels better from the rear end, and only someone who's driving the car can really explain that and what that means. I tried to show you guys how much clearance there was and how the suspension interacted with the end links and the spring next to it. The number one question I'm getting is, why would I do this? Why would I install ISF end links on my car? The answer to that question is they're shorter and they're stronger. It's as simple as that. If your old OEM or OEM style end links are worn out and you want to do an upgrade and you've lowered your car, this is a great upgrade. If you run coilovers, this is a great upgrade. You're going to have absolutely no clearance issues. The only clearance issues you're going to have are with the traditional suspension setup in the rear when you first install it at full droop. And once you put the nuts on, the self-locking nuts on the end links, it will actually bring them in towards the sway bar a little bit, and you'll have the clearance you need even at full droop to clear the spring. So it's a great upgrade, super slammed. You're going to want to get the adjustable ones, and they're currently somewhere around the $150 to $160 US range. If you're mildly lowered and you're looking for a good strong link that's a little bit shorter, this is a great option and a great upgrade. Highly recommend it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and be sure to hit that like button. It helps me out a ton. See you on the next episode.